Hi everybody, welcome to a new video. This time again it's about a pre-announcement of a camera, and it's a fascinating camera, and I already called the guy in my photo store, because it's one, even if I'm skeptical about these kinds of cameras, I definitely want to try it. I have to try it. I must try it. It's the new Sony 5DS and 5DS-R, and more than an evolution of the 5D, the older 5D. I really have to say this is a very specific camera, maybe even a niche camera if we consider some of the specifications. So first things first, it's a 50 plus megapixel camera. So it's by far the highest megapixel count in full frame or in crop frame digital SLRs or mirrorless cameras, because the top basically so far was the 36 megapixels of the Nikon D800, D810, and Sony A7R. So here we're going far beyond that value, and there are a few things that I would like to talk about. First of all, let's quickly go through the features that we get. I picked the Canon 5DS, and then there's the 5DS-R, that is the one without the low pass filter. And this is the first point where I'm kind of skeptical. Why put out two different cameras? Nikon did it at first with the D800 and D800E, and did not do that anymore with the D810. There's not a D810E. So the question you have to ask yourself, why would you buy the one with the low pass filter active instead of the one without? Because if you're going for a camera with 50 megapixel, you really want the resolution, the sharpness, and everything. And it's not a camera that you will use just for snapshots, definitely not. Also for the price, there is a price difference. The announced estimated retail price is $3,899 for the R and $3,699 for the regular one. It's definitely a high price, so you really have to consider what this camera can do for you. And if we go at first to the issue with the point with the resolution. In my experience, I used to own the D800 Nikon, and I used to own the A7R Sony. And part of the reason why I did not stick to those two cameras was the fact that unless you really hold those cameras very steady or have them on a tripod, and actually best is a good tripod, you will end up risking slightly blurred pictures, because apparently there's this effect that where by shifting from one pixel to the next, and that gets easier with the higher pixel count, in my experience, or at least that's what I realized. I'm not an engineer, so don't blame me for not expressing this in the right technical terms, but the effect that I realized was this: if you don't hold the camera really steady, or if the camera shakes a little bit, the images become worse than the ones you will get with a camera with lower megapixel count. So this is one thing that is really important, and this is an issue I had with those two cameras with 36 megapixels, so probably that may end up being an issue here too. And in fact, if we look at the specifications or features, you get this advanced mirror control mechanism with a new user selectable shutter release time lag. So it appears that they are focusing on this possible problem too, because you go in and you see that they did a few things to address this. So you even have this lag that is specifically related to giving you a small space of time between pressing the shutter, the mirror going up, and the actual picture being taken. So it seems like there is a possible issue there. So if we look at the camera, we start thinking, okay, it's a camera that you have to hold very steady. You will have relatively large files. I read something about 60 megabytes for a raw file. It's definitely going to be a camera for some specific uses. Now, the specific uses I can imagine are studio work, are landscapes, maybe macro photography, high detail photography, things like that. So, and this leads me to another thing. I understand that the aim of it all is to get the best possible resolution out of it. And I downloaded the one of the sample files that you get from Canon, and in fact I have to say it's very detailed. Let me just zoom in here, and you get a huge amount of detail, definitely. On the other hand, let's not go to the horizon where it's really blurry because of probably smog or pollution, things like that. Let's focus on not something on the side of the image, because that may be blurry for other reasons. So let's take this one, this part here. It's highly detailed, but I don't feel it's extremely sharp. So yes, you do get the detail, but you do not necessarily get an extraordinary sharpness. The point there, and the point I want to show here, and this is an EF 16 to 35 millimeter lens at f11. So it's a good lens. You do not get extreme sharpness. You do get the details, but in the end, what you're looking for is an overall quality impression, and that would be a combination of detail and sharpness. And I don't have the impression you get that. And this leads me to another point I've been researching here. We've had this issue already when we went beyond the 30 megapixels with the Nikon D800 and the Sony A7R. There have been discussions talking about what can the lenses that we're using give you in terms of resolution, and how do they match the lens resolution or the sensor resolution and the lens resolution. And in fact, there seem to be some issues. Basically, you will have an incredible resolution on the sensor, but the output will not reflect that, because the lenses you're using, even if they're high quality lenses, and with a camera like this you will definitely want to use high quality lenses, you may not get a result that is substantially superior to the result you get with the same lens with a lower megapixel count camera. So even though I want to try this lens, I would like to put out these few issues that I think may, well, at least influence the overall quality impressions of the images that we will get out of this camera. Now, this is a preview. The camera is not out yet. I have not been able to check it and to try it. But in my impression, and I'm not sure if that was a good idea on Canon's side, to get back into the Megapixel War instead of, well, going there and making other improvements. I wouldn't know what improvements you can make, because cameras are just getting so good. And maybe that is exactly the problem. Since cameras are getting really good, and we have Nikon out with the and Sony, especially the Sony A7S, with an incredible quality in terms of low light performance and things like that. We're now looking for how we can improve our offering. So these companies have to come up with something that will convince people to either buy this camera, moving up from a lower camera, or switching to Canon from another brand. And I don't really know if just the megapixel count is going to be the way to go, because in my experience, and I had this experience with the with the A7R Sony and with the Nikon D800. In the end, I was not happy, because unless you can really hold the camera very, very steady, the results you get end up being worse than the ones you might get with a lower megapixel count camera, because of this shaking and the results there. So I'm really curious to try this camera. I'm going to be after it as soon as it comes out, and try to find some camera to test. But I really have the impression that we're moving in a way that is not ideal. So I imagine people are going to buy this camera for a lot of money, and unless they are fully aware of the specific purpose this camera can satisfy, they will end up being not happy with it. But that's just my idea for the time being, and I know that people are going to click unlike, dislike, or any form of negative expression, because they love Canon or they love high megapixel cameras. I'm just putting this out there because I think that Canon is not going the right way. However, maybe I will be proven wrong, possible, and maybe in a year from now you will see me switching from Sony to Canon DSLRs, and I will have 50 megapixel cameras all around. I'm not sure that will happen, but it's possible. Up to you. Discussion out there. What do you think? And for everything else, I can say I will definitely want to try it and see how it works. And keep in mind this point with the lens quality. So a camera like this will have to be used with the best of the best lenses you can get, because any lens below that quality level will not deliver image results that are up to the sensor quality. Thanks a lot. Keep watching, keep coming back for new stuff, and subscribe if you like, and obviously like if you like, if I didn't offend your feelings concerning Canon cameras or high megapixel cameras. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.